months ago, I was put into one of the hardest situations of my life. My body basically shut down to where I barely had energy to shower every day. I was pretty much bedridden for about the next 3 months due to what's called chronic fatigue syndrome. Basically, your central nervous system just completely shuts down and a lot of stuff doesn't work, right? I was dizzy after doing very little physical activity, just getting up and walking to the fridge. If I got too excited, I would get dizzy, out of breath, and feel like I was gonna faint. Just had zero energy. I would sleep for 12, sometimes up to 14 hours a day, and it would do zero, would make me even worse. And at the same time, I had to get rid of one of my cars that was pretty expensive. And I got a downsized car. And about a month after that, during um, this whole thing, my engine blew out on that car. And I honestly didn't really have, still don't really have enough money to get a new car. So I've just been borrowing my parents' car. So lost my car 1 month into my body crashing. This was in a transition point in my life where I was basically shutting down a lot of my in-person stuff, which I was doing with my fitness business. And it was like one of those existential parts of my life where I like just literally felt like I had no place anywhere, extremely lost, scared, just generally speaking, and my body followed suit. And one of the big things I've learned with this experience is what inner peace really means. Um, when this event was happening, I had absolutely no idea that I would be able to cultivate the inner peace and love for myself that I have done through this experience. And the way I did this is by literally meditating for almost all of my waking hours for basically 2 straight months. Okay. So about 3 months ago, my mom said to me, this was when I was still going to doctors and their blood tests show nothing, MRIs of my brain, of my abdominals, scans, this, that, everything's coming back, fine. You're fine. I'm clearly not fine, right? I exercise all the time and I feel like I'm dead. I was actually pretty much begging God to just literally kill me during the night. I was that down and depressed, and my body felt awful. I'm still progressing, getting back to normal, but long story short, back to the inner peace. So, my mom said to me when we were going to get some cookies from a local place, like, Logan, if you don't at least try to be happy, or at least try to feel a little bit better, I don't even think any type of diagnosis from a doctor will even help. And when she said that to me, it hurt, but it was such a big moment of truth. And at that moment, I knew I needed to find some inner peace. And coming from the spirituality realm, I knew I needed to put something out in the quantum field, something into a different timeline to just a different reality than what I'm living right now and believe it can happen, even though I felt so awful just in every aspect of life. I didn't feel like I could win in anything. Um, I just needed to test myself again. And last year, I actually went through a similar experience where I dropped a barbell on my stomach. It led to a bunch of nerve damage where my legs were burning. I had this burning around in my stomach, my arms and muscles. Basically, every single muscle in my body would burn after doing a very little amount of activity. Um, I would get really out of breath really quickly. I was constipated, not a good situation at all. And this was kind of a similar event, but honestly amplified by a million times due to the financial constraints I was in, not having a car, seemingly being disconnected even more from people because I didn't have a job and stuff. So at that time, I decided, you know what, I'm living with my family. I don't have bills. I don't have really anything. Let's try this. I'm going to put 100% of my conscious effort into healing myself and finding inner peace in this moment. So basically, my schedule at that time was I would wake up at about 9 a.m. and I would go to bed at 9 p.m. every day. I was so depressed. Literally, my thought process was, how much of the waking day can I not be awake? Okay, so 12 hours of the day, that's when I was awake. And even that, I was like, that's still too much. So I would wake up at 9 a.m., I would meditate for 2 hours, get something to eat. I would then do a walking meditation, which was about an hour and a half, sometimes an hour. And then I would come back. I would immediately do another meditation right after I finished the walking meditation. So whatever, about up to 4.5 hours. And then I would do either one or two more meditations, depending on if I was trying at that point to go do something with my family. But in the first month, especially, I pretty much was just meditating almost all of my waking hours that I wasn't eating something. Um, and that was a really crucial time because, like, when I was meditating, I was literally falling asleep. My body just it felt like I couldn't even feel my legs. They just felt dirty and itchy and burny, like just terrible symptoms that I literally sat with. And another thing I sat with was the idea of suicide. Um, I felt so awful that I said this to my parents, said this to my therapist. Like, I cannot imagine living like this for an extended period of time, the rest of my life. So I literally made a deal with myself. I said, if I don't figure this out and if I can't heal myself or something good doesn't happen from this by the time my birthday, December 19th of every year, I'm gonna end my life because I can't do this. I can't do anything. So with that level of intensity, I went to work at trying to retrain my brain, find inner peace, connect to the greater part of me to help guide me through this. 5 to 7 hours a day for the first month, about 5 hours a day for the second month, and then I was still doing about 5 hours a day in the third month. Now, as of filming this, we're about 3.5 months since I started this. Um, I'm doing about 3 hours a day, and it was literally that level of intensity of sitting with the thought of this is uncomfortable, this sucks in my body, committing suicide is the only way out, and just letting that sit in my brain, in my head. And it was so mentally and physically painful at the same time. Like, it's truly incredible because for me, like, knowing how I felt even just a few months back, and now I'm feeling way better. Physically, I'm still kind of progressing, still have some of my symptoms, but most of them are completely gone. And I'm about, like, I'd say 75 to 80% back to where I was, which is so exciting for me and just gives me some reassurance too with this um, interdimensional teachings and metaphysics and that type of stuff. Until you get tested and put in a scenario where you actually have to put these teachings to the test. I've done it twice now where I've healed my body from really crazy stuff that doctors couldn't figure out. And it's given me even more assurance that there is something greater out there that is here to help me. So, yeah, 5 hours a day, it was a lot, or 7 hours a day. And the thing is, during those times, it made me realize, like, one, I was able to find that inner peace, that feeling of everything is okay, even though my body was broken down to the point where I know for a fact I couldn't have taken care of myself. I essentially didn't, but like I couldn't have worked, zero chance. I could not have probably had a kid and been able to do stuff with it. I would have had to help a kid. I actually had to get rid of my rabbit, which was one of my pride and joys, because I honestly couldn't take care of him. My parents went out of town on vacation actually for a couple months, or for one of the months for a week. And I was so scared that my brother, he's 15 now, I was scared I wasn't even going to be able to help him if he was in an emergency. Like, that's the level I was at. I couldn't help myself, and like it scared me because I knew I couldn't help others, um, just because my body felt like it was completely shut down. So getting through this and starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel, it has given me so much. I won't even say appreciation. I absolutely am appreciative of life and that I was able to get through this, but um, I feel honestly like invincible to the point where I feel like I can do absolutely anything. Like, for me, from my perspective, my body was shut down. I had basically zero money. I had a zero job, living with my family. unsure of life, just couldn't work out, couldn't do anything that I want. Like, it just felt like every aspect of my life was completely shut down. And I'm starting to see getting through that. It's so powerful. And I hope that anyone who's going through some tough times, I want you to know I literally was suicidal. I made plans to commit suicide because of how um, not good my life was. So if you're going through the same situation, it might sound condescending of me because when people told me you'll get through it when I was feeling this way, I honestly was just kind of spiteful of them. Um, because it didn't seem possible, but I genuinely want anyone to know like there is some way out and you just need to trust in your higher self, follow your intuition, follow whatever you think needs to be done in the best case scenario for you, and it will work wonders for you. This was probably a longer video than I anticipated on making. Oh, it was only 11 minutes. That's not too bad. Leave your comments down below. How long or how often do you meditate? How much do you meditate? Have you ever gone to this extent and been so deep into this type of depression or pain or sickness where you decided, like, I'm going to try this Eastern practice, or I'm going to just try this different thing because nobody's helping me and I need to find the power within to figure this out? Let me know. I'm really curious because I know I'm not an outlier. Um, and I'm sure there's some other people out there who've gone to extreme extents when it comes to meditation. So, peace, love you all, and see you.